so welcome and
thank you
so much for your time today.
Pleasure.
It's exciting to have you here and give up your time for today. So
thank you.
So I guess we all want to just dig right down deep and just and if anyone would like to throw in a question or a comment or anything, we're very fluid.
Just pop your hand up.
Nothing too formal. So I guess let's start at the start. So how did you get into painting then? Who were you early influenced by?
Right, well I've always been creative, and my mother was an artist, oil painter, very realistic paintings, landscapes. She actually could do portraits and that sort of thing, which I'm not so good at. And she was very cultured and made sure her children, did the art galleries, the ballet, opera even, and so we sort of had a broad, we were sort of creative and into that sort of thing. So I suppose she was a big influence, but I did art at school and I really wasn't, into it in a big way. I was more into horses at that stage, but the thing that got me really into art, and I told this when I do my workshops, was I was married at the time to a lawyer, and sadly for all of us at the time, I had a 9-month-old baby, he had an affair with his secretary. So we split up and I took myself and my 9-month-old baby to live at my mother's place, and when I put him to bed at night, I'd start drawing. And it was like escapism for me. It was just a way of forgetting about what was going on, and I'd just lose myself in my art. And I'd have my mother as a critique. She was horrified by most of my and I did a little bit of landscape, but I also used to look at Monet's and like Toulouse-Lautrec, that type of thing, impressionist sort of stuff. But then I also got into architectural drawings, which I really liked. I liked the little detail and that sort of thing. But that was sort of, I guess, a way of escaping. And I think if I know there's a lot of artists here, but it is a really nice way to just forget what's going on in the world and, being soothed, I suppose, by something different. Anyway, so then I met actually my husband, who I'm married to now, Jeff. He's not here today, he's not well at the moment, but then we had 3 children. I already had a child, 2 more children, and I didn't have time for art. I just found I wasn't, I was very time poor, obviously, with young kids and that sort of thing. So I didn't really pursue it. I did a few other things. I did painted porcelain dolls and that sort of thing. So still into the creative, making German mohair teddy bears, all that sort of stuff, which was less, time intensive, I suppose. And then the children grew up, and Stephanie, who's here today, we were into horses in a big way, but then she also had her boyfriend. She golfed with friends, whatnot, and then my son would play cricket, my husband would go off to cricket, and then I was sort of left there thinking, what am I going to do with myself? So I just started dabbling with painting again. I brought along my very first painting because I kept it, but that's what I used to paint, these funny little horses, and they sort of developed from that. They were, obviously, this is quite a small canvas by my standards now, but I do lots of drips behind them and big horses, and because we were showing horses, and in this showy world, I had a lot of friends that had little kids that had horses, and they all started wanting to buy them. So I'd be selling these paintings, doing commissions, for $300 for people, and that's how I sort of got back into it.
How old were you then?
Much later. Like, my kids are grown up, so how old was I then? Not great at math.
Mid-30s?
Yeah, sorry for back then, yeah. Anyway, later on it developed more into abstracts, and there was a gallery where I actually there is a gallery, Linden Gate Gallery in Yarra Glen, where I keep a few horses to keep their old broodies and things that we had, to keep the grass down at this place, and she saw my work, and it was a lot of this horsey sort of stuff, and had a little exhibition for me, which was fun. But it wasn't until I started doing, just experimenting, trying to find my style, I think is what I would think of it as. And actually Philippa contacted me and said, I really like your abstracts, they really resonate with me. I like what you're doing. Would you be interested in putting some paintings in a pop-up? And I just thought, yes, jumped at the idea. So that was sort of...
Well, I think there's also, because you on your Insta page, because I was doing some serious stalking at the time, that you had the combination of
That's
horses
right.
and koalas and kangaroos, some others.
Emus.
Emus, that type of thing. And so it was, like I said, Joan, I love what you're doing, but we definitely need to separate those two out. So, which is how Joan Blond came about.
So, Joan Blond is actually my maiden name, and my passport, my licence has always been Joan Blond. And in my married name, that's where Philippa had seen my work. I also had, the latest foal that has born on our stud, or, all sorts of birthdays and family things, and it wasn't dedicated art.
That's right.
And you were saying you need to be professional.
Just separate it.
And I'd written an email to you, and you said, what's this Joan Blond, which is my email address. And I said, oh, what's my maiden name, so why don't you start anew? And I did.
And ironically, her other name is Belle. So Joan Belle to Joan Blond.
I'm still JB. But so that was all very interesting.
Absolutely.
You can actually go into Joan Belle, and there's quite a few paintings there, which are styles from like 3-4 years ago. So.
And in that short time, it was quite amazing how many people just were drawn to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the scale got bigger, and the confidence was also it was always there.
Because I thought, this sort of 1 metre size was sort of a biggish painting. And then my standard size really sort of became 1.5 by 1.2 for a long time. But I'd probably do a lot of the 2 metre, I think. Now.
But there was also a time when we had to establish pricing and canvas sizes.
Yes, and I had no idea.
No, but just to
and it was the days of the Montmartre canvas, like that one there, and I had to learn, we've got to do professional, and that's what I always say to people when they're starting off. You've got to spend as much money as you can afford on the best quality canvas, even if you're getting less materials. Get the best quality and get the best quality paint. Because I've got some paintings I noticed at my son's place in Sydney, and back in the day, so probably 5 years ago, they're quite faded.
Wow.
Because I was just not realising the importance of having really good paint. So I always, sure.
So do you think then that we should be painting on linen? Is that?
No, cotton's fine as well.
Right.
Linen or cotton, and that's a personal choice. I use both, and I use raw linen, also gesso linen, and I use cotton. Some people like the roughness of cotton. It absorbs the paint a little bit more, but it's a sort of a harder surface. The linen you tend to glide over. That's my personal feeling on it. And I actually do a little bit of polycotton too, which I know a lot of the people that do the Archibald use polycotton. It's really smooth and sheer. But no, that's okay. It's more the stretcher, and also you need a certain thickness of canvas. Yeah. So like a 10 ounce is a bit weak and a bit see-through, and if you're stretching them, they're just not as good. Obviously you can see through them. So you use a 12 ounce or 14 ounce. 12 ounce is fine. And it's the stretcher bars. It's because a lot of those Chinese ones are very thin. And if you're framing, it's not as bad because then they really can't walk. They're all screwed in and locked in. But people know when it's quality canvas. And I think that's one of the most important things. You're better off buying less, selling a few things, and then getting on and buying the next lot, I think. So, sorry.
Oh, hi, Jo. I've just started painting in recent years as a form of art therapy. And I've discovered seniors art, which I just love.
Oh, yeah, they're great there.
And they have the polycottons and they make to size and everything like that. But I'm just curious, what paints do you use?
I use a lot of golden, and I use a lot of Matisse, you know, the Durvain Matisse. Golden. Yeah.
And Matisse.
Golden are, you can get them a lot here now, you couldn't at first. I don't know where the seniors have got them, but they're...
I have that?
Yeah, I would have thought, okay, yeah. I get seniors, and also there's a shop in Bayswater called the Art Shop, the Art Store. The Art Shop.
It's a bit dog-on that I knew.
Why don't I just look at you and say, how ridiculous. Any questions?
So in the series that you get,
yes.
Do you go for the highest series for the pigment content?
Well, the highest number
yes.
is the most pigmented.
Yes.
And you'll notice, I should have had some tubes here, on some of them they'll have like either a circle or a square,
yes, that's right.
And they'll be coloured in.
Correct.
And some of them are open.
Yes.
So depending on
the transparency.
Yes. So your darker ones obviously are going to have most coverage. But you know, even if you use the ones that with the open square, if you paint and then let it dry, go over it again, it'll build up that colour intensity.
Okay, one last question.
That's fine.
If you buy the sheets of the canvas, they've already been primed, do you do another layer of gesso?
No.
What do you think of gesso? Because there's a lot of talk about
gesso's
not really good. And
no, gesso's great. It's got its, you know, and it's also really good if you've done something you're not happy with it. So let it dry and go over it. But sometimes you might buy a canvas that isn't as primed enough for you. You can go over it, but it's not necessary. But it certainly has its place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Out of interest, put your hand up, who's an artist here?
Hobby artist.
Wonderful, well that's a good turnout. And probably you've all been following Joan's career, so you would have known that she was a legal secretary for 25 years.
Yes.
So there was a time...
In fact, in the last job,
Yes.
For that
oh, right.
Yeah.
Just the one job.
Yeah, well I had a couple early on when I was younger, and then I sort of went into other things.
Yes.
I had a children's wear company for a little while, and the kids were all babies and growing up, and I used to actually make the clothes. And,
wow.
Well, I should say I cut the patterns and chose the material and cut them all out, and someone else just sewed them.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, so
that was another little thing I did. But and my boss wasn't very happy when I left.
No.
But
it did take you a while to leave because you didn't want to leave.
It did. There were a few things, and in questions, I know I've got something about what was the catalyst or whatever. But I had Mum who was very unwell, so we would drive down 2 hours to her place on weekends. So my weekends were sort of taken up looking after her. But I had a lot of commissions coming in and a lot of orders for galleries and you know, like stores that wanted my art.
Yes.
So I'd come home from work, but then I'd paint till 12 and 1 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And it was just being brave enough to say, take that leap of faith and say, I think I can make it. Mm-hmm. Because I was also the breadwinner. My husband had been ill and had a heart attack and strokes, and his heart's not good at the moment. So it was like, I really have to do this.
Absolutely.
Well, I had to give it a go.
I remember when we first met, one of Joan's ideas was how long could it take her to leave her work and become a full-time artist.
Yes, so and I think you were saying, and actually you were saying as well, you can do it, yeah.
And you can, obviously.
Yeah, but I just didn't know.
No, big leap at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your inspiration at the moment, does it come from other artists or earlier artists or? No,
it doesn't come from any artists, but it's probably memory of things I've seen and where I live. I live in like a really beautiful rolling hills, big property, and like it's all just trees and flowers and wildlife, and I think it's that. And I go down, Steph's got a beach house down at Philpott, and I go down there, so we'll be, you know, down the beach, and you know, these sort of bluey tones I think are after being down the beach a bit in summer. But yeah, so I think it's that. But it's more things I've seen or memories of, some of these, and they're not quite what I'm thinking of, but some of my landscape abstracts that I do, like they have almost like a path of where they're going through.
Yes. A lot of the nature motifs kind of repeat in
yeah, I do that because I like them.
Yeah.
And then I'll be a few months on and I'll start with a new little design sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does change.
And it's interesting, I don't know, all the artists probably hear how many hours you spend painting.
Yeah, it is crazy.
To hear Joan's timetable is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so, I paint an average of 11 hours a day. I often actually paint for longer. I've got paintings that have just gone to London for an art fair, Battersea Art Fair, and I was really out of the park at the end. And it was all the painting the edges because they went unframed, because they have a crate made, so we wanted to keep them not too thick. So every little millimetre counts, and so they've got to be packed in really tight and that sort of thing. So it was like, I've got all these edges. And I mean, one thing I normally do when I'm painting, just a bit of a tip, even when I'm framing, and most of these are all done, but sometimes on the bottom they're not, if I'm in a hurry, but I paint all the edges first. If I'm doing a black frame, I make it black or charcoal grey or whatever. If I'm doing oak, I'll do it like a cream colour, something like that, because even though then you paint and bits might go over the edge, you can touch them up easily, because if you do it the other way around, which I did for London, then you get marks right around the painting and you've got to find that colour. Often I mix my own colours, so I have to go around and touch up every little bit, so it's taking forever.
So what's your typical day look like then?
So I get up.
Good idea.
Put on my paint spattered t-shirt and leggings, live in those, and in winter it just becomes these cute little pink Ugg boots, which are also paint spattered, and go downstairs and literally start painting. Jeff makes me a protein shake and I'm just going. But I used to paint on an easel, which was good for a while, but we've got a space problem in our place. And a lot of people say, you must have a huge studio. I do not. I have the room, it's a sort of combination living room and kitchen in a big sort of area. But I had the easel and it was hard to sort of get around it. It was also very rickety when I put heavy, big canvases on it. So now the setup is I've got a really big, beautiful gum dining room table. I've got the chairs there. I've got milk crates in front of it with sheets underneath.
Glamorous.
Yeah, and paint spattered towels. And then they go on top of their leaning against the chairs. And so then Jeff and I can negotiate our way around it like that to get from the kitchen to.
And
so room divider.
You had the show Galotto Gallery back in November, and there was 40 works that were up there, which can I add were all sold out. Yes. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could install 40 massive canvases.
It was really, really hard, hard. And actually a lot of them were kept where they were framed, luckily. Yes. And we ended up, I used Pack and Send Blackburn. The woman there is amazing, Simone. And we started doing them in sections. So, because there was, I had a painting that was, I think one of them was like 3 something by 2.6 or, so they were pretty big to send over there. I'm doing commission now for one of his clients that it's, what is it? I don't know, I think it's 2.8 by 1.5. So that it literally takes up most of one room.
Wood.
So
Incredible.
So that's what I do. And so I paint all day. Literally in the morning, I'm still there, but stop to have some lunch, and then paint into the night. And usually Jeff we'll sort of both do the cooking. Right. Now he's not well on cooking again, but I've taught him a few things to do and whatever.
Does it annoy you to stop to have to cook? Or
yes, very much so. Yeah, so sometimes we eat quite late, much to Stephanie's horror. Why are you eating so late? But Yeah, she'll be saying, oh, I'm getting tired, I'm thinking about going to bed soon because she's about to have a baby, so she's quite pregnant. So, and I say, oh, we're about to have dinner, what? But, you know, if I'm really in the middle of something and I just can't leave it.
No.
You know,
and how many would you have on the go, like canvases?
Well, you know, in my room, I've got stored, sitting there, probably about 25 canvases around the place. Working on them, I usually do a background, a loose sort of background, and then I'll put it aside to let it dry, and I'll do the next, that again on another one. Or if I've had one that I've done that on, then I'll start doing all my decorating, as I call it. So, you know, and it depends on the painting. This sort of painting's totally different story because it's layers, lots of layers, and often you can get to one side and then get to the other, it's dry again here, so they can put more things in. So it really depends on the type of painting I'm doing. I like to start like vigorous sort of marks that actually none of you can even see. There are some paintings I do where they peek through a bit, but like just little scribble, drawing, words, and then paint over those.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you do one colour for starters? Like, do you do?
I have done that, and sometimes I'll take a canvas outside, or particularly when I do unstretched, and I'll literally put it out there on the grass and throw paint all over it. Just liquid paint, squirting, blah blah blah. I use GAC, which you can get at your store, where I got it, and it's a golden product, but it's almost a bit like, you can use it a bit like a resin, but it's not, how do I describe it? It doesn't go as glass-like as resin, and it'll build up the surfaces a bit as well, so that's quite interesting. So sometimes I mix in like some plastic containers, I'll mix the paint with the GAC and I'll throw a bit on, and then I'll just give it up and down sort of height. It'll just make it, and actually a good example of those two paintings that are over there, what's that artist called?
Christina Popovici.
So the one on the other side, you can see she's used resin, but there's also, I think, a bit of GAC on there too. So it'd be interesting to go and look. There's channels, and you'll see how some of the areas you can build up, and that's what I'll sometimes do. And as I said, it depends on the type of painting I'm doing. And sometimes I use mediums as well, but none of these have got it actually. Oh no, I don't think so. I've just used thicker paint there. Yeah.
So when you're doing that, you're not thinking about what your end colours might be, you're just thinking about putting a variety
just putting colour on the...
building up the layers.
Yes, yes. Right. Just covering the canvas to start with at first.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I've got a couple of questions. So when you start out, do you have a vision what your end result would be, or is it very much just evolves organic?
It's both, and if I'm painting for, say, this show, I just started doing, I wanted to do a cross-section of my works so people could see different, and then I mean, I know I'm always going to do dots and lines and that sort of story, and I've got into these loopy things now. I quite like doing them, but so if I'm looking at that, I'll say, and I sort of call that my floral abstract. This is my summer series, and this is like a cousin to the original one that was on the block in Kerry and Spencer's apartment. So that was the year before last, and they bought that, and the summer series just grew and it's evolved. It's
that one sold on opening up.
Yes, yeah, and that just sells like crazy.
Yeah.
In fact, I had some really big paintings at Galati, and we've put big prices on them. And I wasn't sure because I hadn't exhibited with you before, and I was sort of thinking, oh, this is going to be very interesting. And most of them were summer series paintings, but I know that there were 6 summer series paintings there, and they all sold for, that was it. They all went.
Yes.
And so sometimes I think it's my most popular style, but then I do things like that, and people love that too. So, and then the original ones that I still love and I still get asked for, they were more green, weren't they? Greens and blues, and more maybe neutral as well.
Well, the flowers over here, that's their last name, by the way. Gwen and Viv, they were your early works.
And that
one's called Outback. something, and it was quite really natural colours.
Yes.
So you've gone more colourful.
Yeah, I have.
A lot more experimenting. I
We
think.
love the blue and the green. You did a beautiful green textured hill.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you built in all the motives and the beautiful art.
Oh, right.
And
Was that a 1.5 or 1.5?
Yeah, it was a square.
Yeah,
Correct.
because I remember you said, I was thinking about.
I wanted it.
Yes, I know the lady you mean now.
The one that got away.
And the sky's sort of like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I know the painting.
Yeah.
We love the
My sister-in-law loved that one too. She was saying to me, oh, we shouldn't sell that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much sought after.
Yeah.
Luckily these guys got it, so
Yeah.
I can visit it sometimes.
Yeah, that's good.
So you can all hear she works at an incredibly frantic pace.
I do. It really, the length of time that it takes to do a painting depends. I mean, if I'm doing gold leaf, it's so fiddly. I find it fiddly. And so that adds more time to the whole thing. I mean, I can do a smaller painting in a day because I'll start, 8 o'clock and work till 10 or something. And that's literally, I'm not having breaks, I'm not going shopping, I'm not,
Yeah.
My nails are often horrible, but I was coming Thursday night, so I had to go Thursday. Someone else said they don't look like artist hands, so if you saw me now. But I just don't have time for doing all that normal stuff.
Can you keep that pace up? Like, is that consistent?
Well, a few people have said that, and in fact, in December, I ended up getting pneumonia, and I've gone to 19 Karen because we had an group exhibition up there in Surfers Paradise, and I was staying at the Sofitel. I was one of the artists that have got paintings in that actual hotel because she's uses that as a gallery as well.
Yes.
So the artists can stay for free.
Oh.
I couldn't enjoy it. I spent the whole time in bed. Jeff was bored out of his brain, although the cricket was on, so he was on. And he'd get up and go down to the delicious breakfast, and I can't eat. But I ended up in Tweed Heads Hospital 5 days.
Not good.
So, and I'd done a lot of flying because I'd been to, I think, Sydney, I'd been to Perth, Perth twice, and then,
Because you enjoy going to the openings of
I love them, yeah. I always try and go.
Yeah.
I got very nervous flying after that last stint because I actually had an asthma attack on the plane and had to get off. So they're all coming on and I'm walking off. So the last 2 times we flown business because I wanted to be up near the front and just able to chill out if I needed anything. But I was fine.
Yes.
It's the pressure of the plane. I think that affected me.
Welcome.
Hi.
You can come through if you like. Just come through. I think I'm just going to throw it open to anyone's got any questions for Joan?
I just had some notes while you talk.
Oh,
do you use the hairdryer to dry, or you said, like you did say that when you're working on the big ones, it's dry by the time you get
usually
back?
not, no. But at our place, where I'm situated, I've got a heater or air conditioner, depending on whether it's hot or cold. So it's on.
Yeah, right.
The people where we are have got solar, so we don't have to worry about electricity too much. So it does dry it. If I'm desperate, I know my courier, I've got my own little personal courier. If he's coming and I think something's not quite dry, and it's usually because I haven't done an edge or something and it's going for framing. But you can use them, but I don't usually.
Do you
just got some people come in. You're welcome to come in.
Do you do any sketches, or you just go straight to canvas?
Never. Have I sketched anything? I had to do, I'm with Jar Rock Galleries in Margaret River after the Gallotti exhibition. They wanted me down there because a lot of people apparently come from Singapore and Hong Kong direct to Margaret River now. They don't have to go to Perth, so which I didn't realise. And so, like, they were sort of thinking, well, they're not necessarily going to see your work at Gallotti, so we want you down here anyway. So I did one. They wanted things which isn't usually how I work, with like popular places. And it's just so not me. I was just Googling and they were sending me photos what they wanted. So what I ended up doing was actually something similar to this, with a bit more green in it, and I just had the little church up in the corner with sort of foliage in front of it, which is how the photos look, and they loved it. In fact, that one sold straight away.
Brilliant.
But there's a lot of little things they wanted. The beach, and I'm not really that sort of an artist, you know. I've done them, but I like having my own style and putting my own, you know, so.
Do you paint over any of your colours, like to brighten them, like the white, for example?
Well, painting over them with white would really, I don't think it would brighten it.
No, with your white, do you go over your white?
Always, yeah. White, I'll go over 2 or 3 times. It's so annoying. Yeah, because the colours just bleed through. And particularly like strong pinks and things, they just keep coming. You know, the white just looks pink forever.
Do you use a particular white to stop that bleed come through?
No, I don't. I usually use I do change a bit. I use golden and Matisse mostly. And I do that with the white too. Look, I've got a few liquid texts and I've got the Atelier. But my favourite paints are really the golden and the Matisse, yeah.
Do you use spray a matte spray or
I use
sealer?
Yeah, I do on everything, but sometimes I use a brush and sometimes I use the spray, and I don't usually use matte. I use satin or gloss depending on the painting, but it depends because I'm always sort of under the pump and getting paintings out, and they're always, you know, running a little bit late. If I've had time to do something and it's been sitting around, say waiting for my courier to come, it's been there for a week and it's really dry, I will paint my varnish on. I usually use Liquitex for that, but the spray cans are so handy, and then I can get my husband on the go, take him outside, get him spraying, and yeah, so there's a method to my madness, yeah. But yeah.
Go for it.
Hello.
Do you paint over every colour a few times, or do you only paint over the white?
No, I usually do paint over. There's some colours you don't need to, but you'll find when you put them on, sometimes you'll find later on there's a little bit that hasn't been covered properly, and then I'll go over it again. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we'll wrap that up, but hopefully you'll hang around for a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
of course.
And if anyone's got some other questions for Joan, you know, please use this time with her to come up and ask her personally.
Yeah, for sure.
If not, just thank Joan for doing that.